equals like blah blah blah.
Okay, I'm just gonna record our lesson now. Okay, so we were talking about a periodic table and who is the Russian guy, the man who invented this table. Of course, you didn't remember.
I didn't remember, of course.
Dmitry Mendeleev.
Dimitri Delele,
Mendeleev,
Mendele.
the guy. Dmitry Mendeleev. Well, of course, he died a long time ago. He died around 1907, which is like 120 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
very old. Anyway, so in his dream, well, he was trying
So
to,
he's Russian?
yes, he Russian. What's the problem with that?
I thought he's American.
No, a Russian chemist and inventor, and he's best known for formulating the periodic law and creating a version of the periodic table of elements. So he was the main guy responsible for that. The story is a bit bizarre because back then people know a lot of elements, right? But everyone were trying to put them into a system that we can categorize them. We can put them into an order, and people
Like,
are trying that, but the problem is there's a lot of exceptions. So Mendeleev was working on that as well. And fortunately for him, during his sleep one night, he dreamt of a table, and in that, all the elements just arrange itself in an order.
that's so unrealistic. Why
Well,
can't it happen to me?
well, when you think too much about something, then eventually your subconsciousness will work during your sleep. So when you think too much or
Why
think too
can
deeply about something,
he's so lucky? Why can't I think of doing my homework in my sleep?
actually, some people they do that. They can do their homework during their sleep. Yes. Well, it does
This is
happen.
unfair.
It does happen sometimes when, like, for example, if I think about my book a bit too much, then sometime in my sleep, yeah, something just appear and it feels great. It feels right. So when I wake up, I just apply what I just what my dream told me.
Have you felt that before?
Yeah, I had an experience like that before. Yeah.
That was so fake.
What? What do you mean fake?
Why can't it happen to me? I'm so jealous.
Doesn't happen that easily.
I think of
Anyway,
a lot of stuff all the time. Like in
oh
my
well.
homework.
I think it's like you have to think for a long time and think a lot about it for it to appear in your dream, I think. If you haven't had enough time to think about it, nah, it's not gonna appear in your dream. Anyway,
So how
so
much do I have to think about it?
I don't know. I don't know. It depends on what you think about, and I think I'm not so sure, okay? Dreams are something that humans are still doing research about. There's a lot of things we don't know about it, okay? There's still a lot of things we don't know about it. But anyway, let's come back to periodic table. So,
Hmm.
you know the structure of an atom, right? So atoms are made of what? Proton, neutrons, and electron, isn't it?
Hmm.
All right. So inside of the nucleus of an atom, there are, what are there? What's inside that?
Nucleus at ACTG.
Say again? No, we're talking about
Ace.
nucleus of an atom.
I forgot.
It's proton and neutron, isn't it? Inside the nucleus of an atom, you would probably find protons and neutrons in there. However, there are electrons flying around it, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so when the electron flying around it, it flies randomly, okay? And there can be
Okay.
many electrons flying around the nucleus of the atom, of an atom. Like, for example, for hydrogen, it has one proton and, of course, one electron out there. And we call these the 1s orbitals, like just the 1s, the shell, okay? The shell is a thing that is around the nucleus where the electron flies in there, right? We call this shell 1s shell, and it has one electron in that. So that's why it's 1s1, isn't it? Any
Mhm.
question now?
No,
Okay.
not really.
So for hydrogen, it is 1s1. So this is the outermost shell of hydrogen, right? And it has one electron. That's why hydrogen belong to group 1. Okay, make sense?
A bit.
And also there's only one S. So that's why it's period 1, isn't it? So period is just basically what is the name of that shell? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever? Group basically is how many electrons are there in the outermost shell. Let me just write that down, okay? Probably you need some writing here. Okay, just gonna write it down. So basically, what is a group? Group is the number of electrons on the outermost shell of an atom, okay? That is what group is. And you also have something called period. Period, what period? Period is the um is the shell number, is the number of shell of electron shell. It's the number of electron shell. Like for example, if it's 1s, 2s1, 2s, 2p, 3s, something like that. Okay, like let's go back there. So helium, let's look at helium now. Helium is an exception to the rules. Why? Because helium has 2 proton and 2 electrons, right? You can
Wait,
see,
what is neutron again?
oh my God, you're really forgetful, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So neutron does not carry a charge, okay? It's neutral. It's a small thing inside of a nucleus. It's neutral, okay? However, proton is positively charged.
Charged with what?
Positively charged. Or we can say it's positive, okay? Let's just make
So
it
let's say neutron is the bad stuff
it doesn't have
and
anything. It's just neutral, okay? There you go. Okay, so for helium, 4, 2. So basically helium has 2 electrons and 2 protons, right? So 2 plus there, and then 2 electrons there is minus, isn't it?
Mhm.
So the first shell is the 1s shell. And 1s shell can hold maximum 2 electrons. Okay. Does it Basically, it's just S shell can hold maximum 2 electrons. And one thing, P. So if you have a P shell, can hold maximum 6 electrons. Okay. And you will also see D shell as well, but that's for later. D shell can hold max is a maximum 10 electrons. And F is the last one. F shell can hold maximum 14 electrons. Okay, but for now, just focus on these S and P, okay?
Most SMP. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
most of the time, it's like just focus on the S and the P shell. So,
Okay.
based on this rule, okay, so we know that helium has 2
Helium.
electrons. So basically, it fills in the 1s, right?
One S, okay.
Yeah,
And
so it comes
it
to
has
1s2. That's maximum already. So that's
okay.
maximum it can hold already. Okay, clear.
Hmm.
However, helium does not belong to group 2. Why? Because it's an exception, okay? So basically, let's just remember that helium is an exception. It belongs to group 8, not group 2. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, if you go on to lithium, for example, lithium has 3 electrons and 3 protons, of course, plus, 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 and electron, electron, electron there. Now, so since I told you that the S shell can hold maximum 2 electrons, right?
Yeah.
But there are 3 electrons, so you need to open a new shell. It's called 2s, isn't it?
2S. So there is 4 electrons.
No, 2 plus 1 is 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then that's exactly what lithium has. Okay. And now it's going to be 1s2 and then 2s1. But now, what is the outermost shell? It's just the 2s, right? Because it's the one that is bigger around, bigger out here, right? You clear?
Bits, a little bit.
Okay, have some time to reflect on it.
Mm.
What's that?
I don't know.
Anyway, so back to this one. So you can see clearly that 2s here is the outermost shell of lithium, isn't it? Only the 2s.
Mm-hmm.
And it has 1 electron. That's why lithium belongs to group 1, isn't it? You get it now? However, it's very weird because by the time of Mendeleev, I don't think people know very well about electrons or protons or things like that. I think people have a very limited knowledge of those things back in the time of Mendeleev. But in the last 120 years, I think in the last 150 years, sorry, people have learned a lot. People have expanded their knowledge a lot. And that's why we need to continue learning, you know.
But I don't want to be part of the science community.
Say what?
I don't want to be part of the science community.
You don't want to be in the science community? Why? What's the problem?
It's so brain rots my head.
Oh, just slowly, okay?
Slowly won't fix it.
Just slowly. do it and you get it, Okay, so now lithium group 1, isn't it? Clear now why it's in group 1, right? Okay, now let's move on to beryllium, Be. So beryllium, this one. Beryllium 94. You will eventually know what this number means, okay? But 4 here, it's the number of electrons or protons that it has, okay? So 4 electrons. Let's start first with 1s, okay? So 1s maximum 2 electrons, so it's going to be 1s2, isn't it? And then you have to open the 2s now. So 2s2. So 2 plus 2 is exactly 4, isn't it? Clear?
Wait, can I go to the toilet? I've been holding my bladder for so long.
Okay, sure then.
Oh.
Okay, so let's go back to beryllium. I'll explain again, okay?
Beryllium.
So 4 electrons, you start first with 1s. A maximum 2, so it's 1s2 already, okay? Now, you have to open the 2s shell now. So maximum is another 2 electrons here. So it's going to be 2s2. But then 2 plus 2 is 4 already, right? So it's just how it is, 4 electrons. Now, what is the outermost shell of beryllium? And how many electrons does it hold? You tell me now.
It holds
What is the outermost
4.
shell of what is the outermost shell of beryllium?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you're ready. It's 2s here because it's the outer, the one that is outermost, 2s. And how many electrons does it have?
2s. It have 4. 2s is
No, it has 2 electrons here. It's number 2 here. That's why beryllium belongs to group 2. It takes a long time for you to learn this one, right?
I don't think my class have learned this before. I asked my teacher. This is like
Your
next year.
teacher haven't taught you this one, but it will take a long time for you to understand these concepts. And I understand why it's difficult for me at first too. Okay, and then what? If we move on to the next one, it's going to be boron, group 3, period 2. Where's boron? B. Okay, so boron, it has 5 electrons or 5 protons if you want. So if you write it again, the 2s is already full, right? It cannot accept any more electrons, right? So it means you have to open a new one, which is called 2p. 2p shell. And you can see p shell can hold maximum 6 electrons, isn't it? According to the rules here. And now 2 plus 2 plus 1 is going to be exactly 5, right? You get it until now. Okay. Tell me, what is the outermost shell in this case? And how many electrons are there in this outermost shell?
There are 3. No, 4. 3.
Yes, 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. Yeah, it's 3 electrons are there in the outermost shell. So that's why boron belong to group 3 and
So
period
how
2.
many electrons there are? It will belong to that group.
You just care about the outermost shell, the one that is outermost.
Outermost.
Okay, if we move on, we have carbon, C here, group 4 and period 2. Okay, carbon here, 6 electrons. So if you write it down, it's going to be 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2, right? 2, 2, 2 is 6, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the outermost shell in this case, and how many electrons does it have? For carbon.
Mm,
Yes, Chloe?
mm, it holds 6 electrons, so it belongs in group
No,
6.
no, no. Say again. The 1s is the one closer to the nucleus, right? But the outermost shell in this case is the 2s and the 2p combined together.
Mm-hmm.
This is the outermost shell, the 2s and the 2p here.
Mm-hmm.
And it has 2 electrons plus 2 electrons here is going to be 4 E in total, right? 4 electron in total. So that's why carbon belong to group 4, period 2, isn't it?
But why group 4?
Why group 4? Come on, look at this one. The outermost shell is a 2s and a 2p, right? And you can see 2 plus 2. Totally, you have 4 electrons in the outermost shell of carbon. 4 here. That's why I belong to group 4, period 2. You get it now?
Yes.
Okay, nitrogen. Group 5, period 2. Where's N? Okay, nitrogen. Ah, here. Okay, nitrogen. Nitrogen.
Nitrogen.
Okay, nitrogen has 14, 7. So it has 7 electrons to begin with. Okay, so 7, it's okay. 2s is going to be 2 maximum already. And then 2p, and then, sorry, 1s is going to be 2 already maximum.
Mm-hmm.
2s is 2 maximum already. So you need 3 more, right? And you can
3
only
more.
fill it in the 2p now, isn't it? 2p3. You know why it's going to be in 2p, right? Because the other 2 shells are full already. It's already full.
So it cannot hold anymore.
If it's
I
full,
think.
you cannot hold anymore. Yeah. It's like a full class. You cannot accept anymore. Yeah. But P can
Okay.
hold maximum 6 electrons. And you say you're only adding 3. So it's not full yet. It can still accept more, right?
Yeah.
It's like you have 6 chairs, but you add 3 people in there. So they are still like empty chairs. Okay, so what is the outermost shell of nitrogen? And how many electrons are there in this case?
Mm, 6? No. Yeah, it can hold 6.
2 plus 3 is 5.
It's but there's another 2 there.
What's wrong with you? I told you it's 2s and 2p here is the outermost shell here. But the 1s here is the inner.
Inner.
Inner, this is outer. And we only care about the outermost shell, okay?
Okay.
So in this case, the 2s and the 2p here is the outermost shell in this case. And it has 2 plus 3, it's 5 electrons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why nitrogen belongs to group 5, period 2. Understand now?
Mm-hmm.
Next is oxygen. Group
Oxygen.
6, period 2. Okay, where's
Wait,
oxygen?
oxygen has electrons?
Of course it does.
I never knew.
Everything in chemistry has electrons in there. All right, for oxygen, 16, 8. So it has 8 electrons to begin with. when you write it. Okay, 1s, maximum 2 electrons, so 1s2 already. 2s, 2 already, 4 here. But you need 4 more, right? Now you need 4 more. So the p shell, even though it can hold maximum 6 electrons, but has 4, only 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Only
now
4? Okay.
2 plus 2 plus 4 is going to be 8 here totally, isn't it? Now, my question for you, what is the outermost shell in this case? And how many electrons are there in the outermost shell?
Uh, there are 4.
No,
Which one? Which one are
the
you
outermost shell in this case is 2s and the 2p combined together.
So it's 6 because
6, yeah, it's
the other
6.
thing is
Yeah, it's 6 electrons in the outermost shell. So that's why oxygen belongs to group 6, period 2. Does it make sense now?
mm-hmm.
Okay, next is fluorine. I already sent you the names of these elements in text. You can check it out. Okay, fluorine, it's group 7, period 2. Let's say fluorine here. So if we just keep adding according to the shell like this, 1s2, 2s2, full already. And then we need 5 more, right? Because 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9, isn't it?
2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so what is the outermost shell in this case, and how many electrons are there in the outermost shell of fluorine? Fluorine, I mean. I'm listening.
Mm, I'm thinking like oh, but it's the inner thing. Oh, okay. Like you told. Um, so do we stop? Hmm. Okay. So we sure. I can't understand.
How many? Tell me. Outermost shell
Hmm.
is the 2s and the 2p in this case. How many electrons are there? Totally.
There are 9.
No,
7.
it's 7 because the outermost shell is 2s and a 2p. And 2 plus 5 is 7. That's why fluorine belongs to group 7,
For
period 2, group 7. Okay, helium, it's group 8.
helium.
Helium is group 8 and period 2.
Where's helium?
Okay.
Where's helium?
Sorry, it's neon, not helium. Neon,
Neon.
Ne, Ne here, group 8 and period 2. Okay, neon, it has totally 10 electrons, right? And if you write it down, it's going to be 1s2, 2s2, and 2p6, because 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10 totally. Now, what is the outermost shell in this case, and how many electrons are there in the outermost shell? I asked about outermost shell, okay? Not everything.
Mhm. So, mhm. Which of that are we doing?
What do you mean?
We're doing
Okay, I'm asking about neon now. How
okay,
many electrons are there in the outermost shell of neon?
eight.
Very good. 2 plus 6,
Because
8. Because I wrote there.
can you give me another one? I want to try test.
Of course. So neon group 8, period 2. Now, the next one, it's going to be sodium, Na. Okay, try it. Sodium has 11. Okay, you try on your.
So the sodium is 11. Uh, Neon is 6. 6. That neon is 6
I'm asking
electrons.
about sodium now.
Sodium.
Yeah, we're working on sodium.
Sodium.
Okay, remember that P shell can hold maximum 6 electrons. So it means that it's already full. It means you have to open a new shell now. It's called 3s. Now you have to open a new one. It's called 3s.
3s and
How many?
Lord,
Okay, 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10 already, but you need one more, right?
2 plus 2. What do
2
you?
plus
Oh,
2 plus 6
it's
is
8 electrons.
10. 10 plus 1 is 11.
11.
So 11 in total.
Oh,
Yes. But it means that you need to put 1 electrons in a 3s, isn't it? By the way, Khoi, which grade are you in now?
I'm in grade 8.
8, right? I see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't worry. When I was in grade 8, I started to learn chemistry. It wasn't easy.
Who said it was easy?
Science never easy. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is the outermost shell in this case of sodium now? It's not the 2 anymore. Now, because you open a new shell already. It's called 3s. And 3s is the outermost in this case. Because it's the outermost shell in this case. And it has only 1 electron in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why sodium belongs to group 1, but period 3. Make sense now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, move on to magnesium. Magnesium Mg, you have 24, 12. Magnesium, 12 electrons to begin with.
So it has 12.
Just write it down first, and we'll see.
Write it down. Hmm.
You got it?
Hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. 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 So we're doing sodium, right? Sodium is Mg, right?
No, sodium is Na. We are talking about
Na,
magnesium now. Magnesium, Mg.
magnesium, Mg. So we have 8 electrons, but it's no, we have 10. No,
What is the outermost shell in this case? The outermost shell in this case is a 3s. It's the furthest away shell. The outermost shell is a 3s now. And how many electrons does it have? And how many electrons does it have?
it has 9, 10, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8.
No, it has only 2 electrons here. The
But
3s is the outermost shell in this case. 3s.
3s,
And it has 2 electrons to begin with.
2 electrons.
So that's why Mg belongs to group 2, period 3. Here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, move on. We have aluminium. Aluminium, group 3, period 3, 3, 3. I haven't actually wrote for aluminium, but maybe it's a good idea to try it now.
Aluminum.
Okay, try aluminium. In the British way, it's aluminum, but I don't know, in the American way, they always say aluminium. It's weird, right? It's aluminium. Okay, aluminum, it's okay, it's already here. Aluminum, 13 electrons to begin with.
Hmm. Aluminum have 3 electrons, right?
Sorry, electron,
3.
the outermost shell. Very good, you got it right now. Because 3s and 3p are the outermost shell in this case. And it has 2 plus 1 here. It's going to be 3. So that's why aluminum belongs to group 3, period 3. Isn't it? Clear now?
Clear.
Without looking at the video, would next time you remember? I don't think so.
Mhm.
Okay, silicon. Try Si, sorry. Silicon, it's group 4, period 3, and it has 14 electrons. 14 electrons in total. Okay, based on that, you can write it now. 14 electrons total.
Mhm. So it belongs in group 3, the aluminum, right?
Yep, group 3 aluminum. Now we're looking at
Yes.
silicon, okay? We're working on silicon now. Focus. Stay focused, please.
Silicon. What's
Hmm?
silicon?
Silicon. It has 14 electrons in total. I wrote here.
Mhm. So silicon has 14 electrons in total.
Mhm.
Mhm. So what's the thing for the silly thing?
What are you asking me?
The silicon.
Yep. Okay, so my question for you is, okay, I already wrote for you. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 is 10, and 3s2 is 12, but then you need 2 more, so 3p2, right?
So it's
What's the
2.
outermost shell, and how many electrons are there in the outermost shell?
What's the outermost shell again?
Oh my God, we have to ask me again, what is outermost shell really? The shell that is
Forgot.
outside. Okay, come on, it's this one.
Oh, outside.
The outermost
It's
shell, yes, in this case, is a 3s and a 3p. Seriously.
3S and 3P.
Mhm.
It's four electrons.
That's why silicon belongs to group 4, period 3. Okay,
Z.
make sense now?
Yes.
Okay, next one is phosphorus. Phosphorus, it has 15 electrons in total. Okay, you write it now.
Have 15 electrons in total.
Mm,
Phosphorus.
mm. I think it's phosphorus down. Oh.
Mhm. Okay, I've finished.
Okay, so let's start. 15, right? So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, that's 10. And so 3s2 is 12. So you need 3 more. It's going to be 3p3, right? So what is the outermost shell in this case? And how many electrons are there?
Um, there are 5 electrons.
Correct. So this is the outermost shell in this case, the 3s and the 3p. Has 5 electrons, so that's why phosphorus belongs to group 5, period
Group 5,
3.
period 3.
Okay, try sulfur next.
Sulfur. Where's okay?
Sulfur. Sulfur, it has 16 electrons in total.
60 electrons. Mhm. It has okay. Sulfur have 16. That's one more. Okay. Next.
Okay, so how many electrons are there in the outermost shell in this case of sulfur?
Um, there are 4 electrons and it belong
Nope.
in. I mean six electrons and it belong in group 6 and in period 3.
3. Okay, look at the word 3. It's
3,
it's th
3,
3.
3, 3,
No, it's 3.
3, 3,
Yeah, it's pronounced like
3,
3. Okay, so
3.
next one is gonna be chlorine. Chlorine. Chlorine, it has 17 electrons in total. Okay, you do it.
Okay. So it's 17. Okay, chlorine. I wrote down. It's quick.
What do you say?
Can you like give me the thing? Like what's that called? Never mind. Okay, so it's
Outermost shell, how many electrons are there?
7 electrons and group 7 and belong in period 3. Period
Correct.
3.
Correct. Okay, now the next one is going to be a noble gas called argon.
Organ.
Argon is a noble gas, and it has 18 electrons in total. Try it.
18.
Mm.
Hmm. Okay, argon next, please.
Okay, argon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and then 2s2, 3s2, 3p6, right? But now you know it's already full. The 3p can only hold maximum 6 electrons as well. So how many electrons are there in the outermost shell, in this case, argon?
Mm, there are how many organs? 8 electrons and belong in period
Correct.
3
Correct.
in
It's 8
group
electrons
8.
in total in outermost shells, 8 electrons. That's why argon is in group 8 and period 3, right? Correct. Now, the next one is going to be potassium. The K here is the potassium. It's weird, right? Because in all the languages, it's just kalium something, kali. In Vietnamese, kali. In a lot of other languages, kali, kalium, kalia, something like that. But it's very weird in English. They call it potassium. Okay, which has 19 electrons in total. It's going to be a difficult case, okay? Because now the 3p is already full, right? It means you have to open a new one. It's called 4s.
Open a new one.
You have to open a 4s shell now.
It's it's 7 electrons and belong in group 7, period 7. Period 7 and group 7.
No.
Oh,
Okay, potassium, like I
combination.
told you before, the 3p can only hold maximum 6 electrons. So now you have one more electrons. It means you have to open a new shell. It's called 4s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have what? 4s1. This is the
4s1.
shell in this case. And it has one electron there. So
One
potassium
electron.
is in group 1, period 4. Does it make sense now?
Group 1. 4. Yeah.
Good. Now try the last one I asked you to remember. It's called calcium. Everyone needs calcium for their bones, the teeth, and their study too. Because calcium is actually good for your nervous system, for your brain, for your thinking, your studying, and everything. Okay, calcium. It has 20 electrons in total. Okay, try it, please.
20 electrons.
20.
Hmm. Hmm. It's like, okay, calcium, let's continue.
Yes. Calcium's okay.
Continue.
S2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. But then you need another 2, so it's going to be 4s2, right?
So it have 8 electrons
Say again, try
and
again.
8 electrons.
No, the outermost shell
Two
is...
2 electrons.
The outermost shell is the 4s here in this case. So it has
Because like
electrons
3 is blah
there.
blah blah.
So it's in group 2, period 4. Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
Good, good, good now. All right, I think that's a 20 elements that I asked you to remember. Let's try
20
some.
elements.
Yep, I mean that's the that's the minimum. That's the
Minimum.
Yeah, that's a basic, the minimum. Come
You're
on.
kidding.
I'm not
That's
kidding.
so much.
You have to get used to things now. You know what H2O is, right? You know what H2O and CO2 is, right? Of course you do, because you learn biology before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try something now. I'll ask you a random something so you can write. You can try. Okay, try beryllium, and it has 4 electrons. Let's try that. Easy.
Okay, let's continue.
Okay, beryllium, how much is in that outermost shell? Okay, let's say 2 here and 2 there. So how many electrons are there in the outermost shell of beryllium?
There are 2 electrons and it belong in
Correct.
period 2.
So what group and what period does it beryllium belongs to?
Group 2 and period 2.
Correct. Very good. You're starting to learn now. Okay, try aluminum. It has 13 electrons.
Mhm. Can you write it though? Oh God.
What do you say?
I got disconnected. Can you
Oh,
hear me?
yeah, I hear you well.
The Wi-Fi here is very trash.
Why is it so bad there?
I don't know.
Okay,
It's
ask the
like the
technician.
Wi-Fi is like 6 years old.
You know what? I think it's actually good to ask a technician to come and check the wires. You know, check the wires, okay?
Don't worry, I'm moving to a new house soon.
What? You moving to Vin house soon?
New house.
Ah, to new. Where is it gonna be?
I don't remember it was Northwood something.
Okay, but basically ask the technician to correct or to fix the wires, okay? The wires is important, not the package, okay? The wires. If it was
Mhm.
not connected in the right way, your internet would be very, very bad, okay? The wire is important.
Okay.
Okay, aluminum.
Aluminium, okay.
You found it?
I'm still finding it. Um, it's three electrons and belong in period three.
Say again.
It belongs in group three and it's period three.
Yeah, exactly. So 3 electron in outermost shell and yes, period 3, group 3, correct. Okay, try another one. Argon, which is 18. Okay, try argon.
Argon.
Yeah, argon.
Hmm. Oh, sorry. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, Argon it has 18. Okay, I'm ready. Include that thing. Hello?
I'm still here.
I thought I disconnected again.
All right, so it's gonna be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. It's gonna be 10, right? Okay, 3s2 is 12, and you have 3p6. Exactly 18 electrons. So how many electrons are there in the outermost shell of argon? Hmm?
Mm,
Just a question.
there's 8 electrons and it belongs in group three.
Very good. So it is here. So it is group 8, period 3. Correct. Okay. Good, good. So far, so good. You're just forgetful, but probably you understand how to do it. Okay, try nitrogen. It has 7 electrons.
Nitrogen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, continue.
Mm-hmm.
It.
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen. Are we revising it again?
You found it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many electrons are there in the outermost shell of nitrogen?
There are five nitrogen, and it belongs in period 2.
So group 5, period 2. Correct. Good, good. You understand it now. Where it should be, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I feels like maybe try another one. Or 2 other one. Try calcium. It has 20 electrons. Try
Okay.
calcium.
It's like um, okay, let's continue. I've taken notes of all the things finished. Did I disconnect? Oh, okay.
Okay. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. That's 10. Okay, open a new one. 3s2 is 12. 3p6. So 18 in total, right? But you need 2 more, isn't it? 2 more electrons. So you have to open a new shell here. In this case, it's 4s and 2. So what's this case? How many electrons are there in the outermost shell of calcium? You're listening?
Mm,
You see, sometimes I think my program works so well. It creates so much silence, so you feel like, your internet is just really bad. Okay, how about this case? How many electrons are there in the outermost shell of
8 are 2 electrons, and it belongs in period 4.
correct? No, it's wrong. It's actually group
Huh?
2 and period 4. You have to say it right. It belongs to group 2 and period 4. Okay?
Okay.
Makes sense now?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so periodic table. There's one more thing I need you to learn. Besides from their positions and how many electrons are there, outermost shell, and things like that, There's also something called a trend, There's a trend.
In TikTok?
If you believe it that way. Periodic
Okay.
table trend. Image. So if you look at the table, there's always a trend. Like for example, you see, why don't we just look at the table now?
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to look at the table itself. Now, so the periodic table is grouped into metals and non-metals.
Mm-hmm.
And the one in the middle is called transition metals. And there's several subgroup in there, smaller ones. So we group them according to their properties, like their characters. Like for example, group 1 is metal. Group 2 is also very metal. But group
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's look at the number. Group 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
6,
Actually,
7,
these
8.
are non-metal.
Non-metal.
Yeah, non-metal. So they're not metal, okay? Non-metal.
Okay.
Especially the last group is called noble gases. Why is it noble? Like
Because it's
kings and
noble.
queens, because the king
It's
and queens, It's like
yeah.
people say that noble gases because they do not react with anything else. Like the royal family. They are very picky about what friends they hang out with, right? Of course, they go to a lot of parties, they go to a lot of events and things, but they are very picky about who they hang out with. The noble people, the kings and the queens, right? Or the rich. So why is called noble gases? Because it does not react with anything else. That's why they give them the name noble gases, not because these are very rare or very expensive things, isn't it? But just because they do not react with anything else. Just a story.
Just a story. Made up story.
No, it's not. These are the meanings of these noble gases. Why it's called that way? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So the periodic table, there's some trends as well. Let's just say radius trends. So if you look at the table, you can see that if you go from top to bottom, of course, the radius of the atom increases, right? Keep increases.
Yeah, it will increase.
But if you go from the left to the right side, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, even though you have more and more electrons if you go from the left to the right, right? That's a strange thing.
It is strange.
Yeah. I mean, from hydrogen all the way to cesium in the same thing, if you go from top to bottom, you have much more electrons. So of course, it should get bigger, right? It should get bigger if you go from top to bottom here. However, from the left to the right, it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. That's a trend in atomic radius.
A trend.
You remember what radius is, right?
A trend in the chemical world.
No. You know what diameter and radius, right?
Diameter, yeah, I know.
Okay, good. Because I'm afraid you forgot that as well. I'm like, oh no. Oh my God.
Crash out.
Oh my God. I would rage quit like a gamer.
What if I say I forgot?
You seriously?
No, I'm joking.
Seriously? Excuse me?
Joking. I
Okay.
said I'm joking.
Okay, there are some other trends, but I don't think you need it now because I think we have spent enough time for periodic table. Okay, I'm just gonna end the lesson here, I think.